going to kick off Flashpoint this morning from Commerce. Great to have our first opportunity to sit down for a conversation with the GOP vice presidential candidate, Congressman Paul Ryan. Congressman, thanks very much for the time.
Thanks for having me. Good to be with you.
First, just quickly off the top, Romney in his remarks mentioned his birth certificate. Are you guys ready to jump on?
Oh, no, not at all. We're not questioning that whatsoever. He's just proud to be from Michigan. You know, Mitt's...
That wasn't any kind of a reference to the current president.
He's excited to be home here in Michigan. He was born here, raised here. He's just excited about it.
You guys have, I think, worked really hard to make everybody understand that Congressman Aiken's remarks are not part of GOP boilerplate.
Well, they're outrageous. They're indefensible.
But you look back over the last couple of months, whether it was Congressman Aiken or Rick Santorum, Rush Limbaugh. Here in Michigan, we had a Republican, a Democratic lawmaker who was muzzled from a floor debate because she used the word vagina during a floor debate. I think, what are you going to do about getting back a lot of angry, disaffected women?
Well, look at the Obama economy. It's hit women the hardest. Unemployment rates among women has skyrocketed. Poverty among women is the highest it's been in 17 years. We need to get people back to work. We need to higher take-home pay, more jobs. That's what the Romney plan for a stronger middle class is all about. What people are asking us, men and women, are where are the jobs? That's what Michiganders are asking me. They're not asking us about these other issues. They want to know that their kids can go to good schools, that we're not going to give them a mountain of debt, and that they have a good future in front of them. And they look back at the last 4 years under President Obama and his failed leadership, and they see more debt, they see more decline, they see 42 months of unemployment above 8%, 9% here in Michigan. That's what women are asking us. And we're offering a very positive, specific agenda of solutions to get people back to work. That's first and foremost in the front of the minds of people I talk with.
A lot of those jobs in Michigan are automotive. I want to ask you about what I think is a lingering frustration for a lot of Michiganders, and that is their tale of two bailouts. They feel like the auto industry had to crawl on its hands and knees to get some help, had to completely remake the industry. It came out a stronger industry than it was when it went in. The banking industry, on the other hand, had suffered no such indignity, it seemed, and really hasn't remade itself at all, and some believe that we're in as much peril of a financial collapse as ever.
Well, look, I understand this issue extremely well. I represent Wisconsin. I represent the western shoreline of part of Lake Michigan. Yeah. I had 4 auto factories in the district I represent that are gone now.
Right.
We lost the GM plant in Janesville, the Chrysler plant in Kenosha, and 2 Delphi plants in Oak Creek, a district I represent. So I've been very involved in this issue. The question for me as an auto guy, and Mitt, as you know, is a car guy, a Michigander, is what do we do to get the American auto sector up and running and competing globally? That's why I think President Obama's economics have been a miserable failure. He wants to raise taxes.
Was it a failure with respect to the way he handled the auto industry?
I think there could have been clearly better ways of doing it. And as you know, Mitt and I believe that we should have had a system that would have guaranteed loans coming out of a structured bankruptcy to make sure that we're lean and mean and going for the future. But here's the problem. We need to make sure that we make our trade competitors treat us fairly like we treat them so we can make more cars in America, sell them overseas. We need to make sure that we're not taxing American manufacturers, big and small, more than our foreign competitors are taxing theirs, and President Obama is sending us in the wrong direction. We got to make sure that we have an energy policy that we can afford cheap gas, have cheap energy, so we can build more things in America. The kinds of things that increase the cost of healthcare, of car companies, like healthcare costs, energy costs, regulatory costs, taxes, they've all gone in the wrong direction under President Obama. We need to have strong economic policies. That's what the Romney plan for a strong middle class is all about. It's about championing businesses and giving them the ability to thrive and survive in this global economy. And I think President Obama's economics are sending us in the wrong direction. It's a headwind in front of car companies.
The sense, though, that Wall Street is running too much of Washington, is anybody ultimately going to be held responsible for the collapse of the worldwide economy? We came through really turning Wall Street into Las Vegas.
Right, so I think the solution that President Obama put in place, they call it the Dodd-Frank law, makes Wall Street more powerful. It will end up with a handful of really big banks.
So we should do what then?
So I don't believe in this too big to fail doctrine that President Obama put in law. So under President Obama's solutions, we're going to actually hurt the small community banks, which is where the money that goes to our small businesses comes from. And we're going to instead empower big banks, which will become too big to fail, and that will probably trigger and precipitate the likelihood of more bailouts of big Wall Street banks. We went in the wrong direction. We should not have a doctrine of too big to fail, where you have big business and big government joining in a common cause that makes it harder for small businesses to survive, or makes it harder for small community banks to be able to lend to our entrepreneurs in our cities, which is where most of our jobs come from in states like Michigan and Wisconsin.
We've got another similarity between Michigan and Wisconsin, huge labor forces. Wisconsin has been more eager about being kind of one of the epicenters of right to work, and I guess what some union workers believe is a real war on their way of life. What do you think?
I don't see it that way.
Do you think unions still are have their time in place? Or
no. Look, I grew up in a family working with my cousin's family earth moving business, which is a union shop. I've got lots of friends in unions. I've been supported by unions throughout my career in Congress. What we did in Wisconsin was our governor basically said public employees should pay something for their health care benefits and the retirement benefits, just like the taxpayers that pay for them. That's not asking too much. We got to make sure that the public sector works for the private sector, that the people who work for government, who are very important, they work hard for us, but they got to pay something for their health and retirement benefits, just like the taxpayers who pay the taxes to finance.
Do you like right to work as a general policy?
Well, no, we don't have right to work in Wisconsin.
Right.
I've always believed that that's an issue that ought to be left up to the states. That's always been my position. And look, obviously unions have done a lot for America, for building a middle class. We also have to look forward to see what are the right policies that get American businesses competitive in the global economy. We want to have an economic policy so that we can make more things in America, grow more things in America, and sell them overseas. And that means having a good economic policy that gets us out of the rut we are in, which is 23 million people struggling to find jobs in America. Unemployment above 8% for 42 months, a deficit and debt that's getting out of control. If we stay with the president's failed policies, and that's really all he's promising is more of the same, then we'll wind up like Europe, and we don't want to see that happen.
Last question, Congressman, and this is one I think that is tough often for vice presidential candidates because it sort of presumes bad news. But a vice presidential candidate really can't be someone with a lot of potential down the line. It's got to be someone who's ready. Are you ready to be president?
I am. I would not have done this if I didn't think so. Mitt Romney would not have asked me to join the ticket if he didn't think so.
Congressman, thanks very much for the time.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back with more on Flashpoint right after this on Local 4.